career as a social worker. So that is where we'll be introducing ourselves to like a step-by-step guide on how to become a successful social worker, how to build a successful career as a social worker. So we've been able to justify some relatable topics in our previous modules concerning the course that relates to the course social work. So this is the next topic that will be treating, and we have the contents of the module to be the first. We'll be looking at the topic, who is a social worker. We'll be introducing ourselves to who a social worker is, and we'll move on to the professional values, that is the training and skills that is necessary for a social worker. Then we'll move on to the organized system of education, mainly at the university level training. Then move on to specialized activities of professionals. Then tools and techniques in social work. Then education and training pathway. Then we also look at job search and professional development, and career advancement and specialization. So if we look at all these topics, we could easily relate to the fact that they are topics that revolves around building a career as a professional social worker, or building a successful career as a social worker. So this is like a step-by-step topic that will introduce us to what needs to be done if you want to become a professional a social worker. So let's move on to the introductory part of the module, where we have it that building a career as a professional social worker is a profoundly rewarding path for those driven by compassion, social justice, and a desire to create meaningful change in people's lives. So it is this this part is profoundly rewarding for those that are driven by compassion. It is not just anybody that can become a social worker. You have to have, there is this zeal and the compassion. They must be dedicated, a dedicated and desired individual mostly. So social work is a dynamic profession. It is a profession that is dedicated to helping individuals, families, groups, and communities to overcome challenges such as poverty, mental health struggles, substance abuse, family conflicts, discrimination, and any form of vulnerabilities, any form of marginalization that might have occurred, that might be happening. So social worker is that individual that is dedicated to helping these the vulnerables, let's put it that way, the vulnerables, to help the vulnerables. So which could be in various forms, which could be from the angle of poverty, from mental health struggles and the likes. So social workers, they serve as advocates, and not only advocates, they also serve as counselors, they also serve as case managers and agents of systemic reform. So working in diverse settings, including so they serve as advocates, counselors, and the likes, that is working in diverse settings, including schools, hospitals, child welfare agencies, mental health centers, non-profit organizations, government organizations, and private practice. So let's move on to who a social worker is now. We'll be defining the meaning of social work. We'll be introducing ourselves to who a social worker is. A social worker can be seen as a trained individual or professional who helps individuals, families, groups, and communities to address challenges in their daily lives, to also enhance their overall well-being and quality of life. What can be deduced from this definition is just to the fact that social worker is that professional individual or person that is ready to help the vulnerables to overcome and to live a well-being and quality life. So the most widely accepted global definition, that is from the International Federation of Social Workers, IFSW, and also the International Association of Schools of Social Work, IASSW, that is unchanged since 2014, has been able, according to this definition, social work is a practice-based profession and an academic discipline that promotes social change and development, social cohesion, and the empowerment and liberation of people. So the principles of justice, human rights, collective responsibility, and response for diversity are central to what we refer to as social works. So let's move on to the organized system of education, that is the university level training. Social work stands out as a distinct professional discipline within higher education in Nigeria. So it has been able, if in our module 2 we've been able to trace the historical developments of social work. So it is important to note that social work has transformed and transited from being a traditional way of helping to coming to a university level training. It has been able to transform to a university level training. So social work stand out as a distinct professional discipline within higher education in Nigeria. Universities and specialized institutions, they offer undergraduates, which could be BSc and the likes, even postgraduate MSc, MSW, and advanced programs in social work. So formal social work education in Nigeria is relatively recent compared to many countries. The journey began with early influences from colonial welfare practices, but university level training started in the 1970s. The first full social work program was actually established in 1976 at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. That's the UNN, which was initially as a unit within the Faculty of Social Sciences. So it focused on producing middle-level manpower and later evolved into a full department of social work in 2006, offering BSW and MS and PhD programs. So now we have specialized activities of professionals. What are those specialized activities that need to be done by professionals? So in Nigeria, the boundaries between social work, social welfare, and social service often overlap due to the country's complex social challenges, which includes poverty, rapid urbanization, communal conflicts, child protection issues, and the needs of marginalized or vulnerable populations. However, it is important to know that trained social work professionals, they engage in distinct specialized activities that is grounded in the profession's core values and principles. These include social counseling and therapeutic interventions, uh, social actions, advocacy and rights-based work, community organization and mobilization, resource mobilization and networking, environmental and systemic modifications, service facilitation and linkage. So, e.g., we have that to be to governments and non-governmental support. We have development, planning, and policy influence. These are specialized activities of professionals. Professionals here are the social workers that we are trying to refer to. So let's move on to the tools and techniques in social work. So we have that effective social work in Nigeria requires a blend of essential skills and techniques, and these skills and techniques are what we'll be justifying in this topic, in this subtopic under this module. So and these tools and techniques, essential skills and techniques are also adapted to multicultural, resource constrained, and community oriented contexts. The most relevant and practical ones for professionals include, we have one to be documentation skills. As a professional social worker, you must be able to properly document records for record purposes. So we have documentation skills where we have excellent note taking while listening to clients or colleagues, recording assessments and planning interventions or strategies, often in resource limited settings. So we also have another skills to be organizational skills. That is, under that we have the strong ability to multitask, prioritize tasks, and manage time efficiently in the middle of high caseloads and bureaucratic demands. And the next one is understanding of human psychology. So deep insight into how minds work, emotional functions, and behavior are influenced considering cultural and psychosocial factors. Now let's move on to the next subtopic under this building career as a professional social worker. We have education and training pathways. Social work education in Nigeria provides structured pathways for individuals that are interested in building a professional career in helping vulnerable populations and addressing social issues like poverty and the likes, as we've been mentioning over during the course. So degree programs and certification is necessary, and it typically begin at the undergraduate level with a Bachelor of Science, that is BSc, or Bachelors of Social Work, BSW. So these programs are offered by several universities across the country, that is in Nigeria. So which includes some of these universities are University of Nigeria, Nsukka, which could be said to be the pioneer institution with strong research output for social work. Well, not only University of Nigeria, Nsukka, we can also have to see these courses in University of Benin, and university. We also have it in University of Ibadan, University of Calabar, University of Lagos, University of Ilorin, Federal University of Nasarawa, that's Lafia. We also have it in Redeemers University, University of Port Harcourt, Babcock University, and others such as University of Malaysia and the likes that are recently offering BSc Social Work. So now let's move on to the next subtopic under this module, which is job search and professional development. So after gaining the necessary degree and having the necessary certificates and certification, how do we progress and proceed to becoming a professional social worker? And we have that to be job search and professional development, and trying to develop professionally. So in finding employment as a social worker, mostly in Nigeria, it requires strategic approaches as opportunities exist mainly in public sector, non-governmental organizations, health institutions, and community programs, often in resource-limited settings. So resume building and interviewing should always highlight relevant academic qualifications, field work or internship experiences, which is very mandatory in social work programs. You must have been able to have some little experience in field work and internship. So volunteer work is also necessary, and practical skills in counseling, case management, community engagement, advocacy, and cultural competence. So customizing resumes to address Nigerian specific issues like child rights, gender equality, humanitarian crisis, and communal support systems. In interviews, emphasize ethical practice, empathy, problem solving in challenging environments, and commitment to social justice. These are the tips to how we can we can bag a good job as a social worker. So now let's move to the career advancement and specialization. So after certification and getting a job and all, we have to advance as a social worker. A social worker has to advance in his or her career. So this is what the subtopic will be addressing. That is the career advancement and specialization. So advancing in social work in Nigeria mainly involves accumulating practical experiences, or also obtaining further qualifications and transitioning to specialized or supervisory positions in order to influence greater impact. Specializations enables to focus on pressing national needs, including child and family welfare, medical and health social work, community or rural development, gender-based violence intervention, mental health and substance abuse support. We also have industrial or occupational social work, school social work, geriatric or elderly care, humanitarian response, and social policy advocacy. So these fields align with local realities like poverty, alleviation, conflict affected areas, urban migration, and indigenous communal care practice. These fields are where we can actually, as a professional social worker, can actually advance their career and specialization in order to become superiors and supervisors to make the necessary moves nationally. So now in conclusion, to pursue a career as a social worker in Nigeria, it offers a profoundly meaningful and impactful path for those that are committed to compassion, social justice, and the empowerment of vulnerable individuals and communities, as we have tried to introduce ourselves in the beginning of this module. So rooted in the profession's core values of unconditional acceptance, human dignity and rights, and collective responsibility, Nigerian social workers address the nation's pressing challenges, that is ranging from poverty, as we've always been stating. So poverty, child protection, gender-based violence, mental health concerns, displacements and humanitarian crisis, and also to urbanization, communal conflicts and the likes. So through rigorous education, beginning at institutions like the University of Nsukka since 1970s, professional registration, after that, professional registration under the Chartered Institute of Social Work Practitioners of Nigeria, that is the CISOWN, Act number 25 of 2022. And after that, active involvement with the Nigerian Association of Social Workers, And then practitioners they try to develop essential skills in empathy, active listening, critical thinking, cultural competence, and practical interventions. These are like a step-by-step guide and to become a professional social worker and how to become specialized as a social worker. Thank you. That'll be the end for